Welcome, everyone, to the Sport Coach. I'm your host, Greg Bergner. Thanks for stopping by and spending some time with us today. Woo! We have Bass Event number 4. We are previewing that today. It's taking place in Green Lake. We have some heavy-hitting matchups. Standings are going to take a hit this week, boys. I'll tell you that much. I cannot wait to dive into all these matchups, see what these anglers have been up to. And man, we are going to highlight the matchup of the century. Can't wait to get into all this. I got my man in studio today, Tyler Corey. Tyler, what's happening, dude?
What up? Ready to talk some bass fishing?
Bass Event number 4.
Yep.
We have what could be Angler of the Year implications this week. We have 1 and 2 facing off. We have an 0-3 team taking on a 3-0 team.
Yep.
We have it all this week. It's going to be so much fun to see, and it's all on Green Lake.
Correct.
Tell me a little bit about Green Lake, man. I feel like this is new to Head2Head, at least in my short time here. New to Head2Head. So I'm looking forward to seeing what this lake offers up to these anglers. Tell me a little bit about Green Lake.
Yeah, so we started way back. First year of Head2Head, we had one. The inaugural one was on Little Green Lake.
Okay.
Which is adjacent to Big Green Lake. Similar but different in a lot of ways. Little Green is smaller, obviously, hence the name. Also has a lot more grass, not nearly as deep as Big Green Lake. Kind of big farm pondy-ish type place. Lots of grass, lots of shallow cover. There's some offshore, deeper stuff, plenty of that, just like on Big Green. But this is just that expanded, very much so. Big Green's one of the, I believe it is the deepest lake entirely housed within the Wisconsin borders. Like 200 feet deep. Ooh, deep enough for you to swim down to the bottom and not come back. That's how deep it is. Very deep. Deep enough to house lake trout, like Great Lakes fish can live in this body of water.
So does the depth of a body of water like that make things different, more difficult, easier? Like, what is this going to do as far as the fishing goes? Or does it just incorporate more species into the water? Like, what does it do for
the main thing that it affects is your water temperature. Deeper water makes it more difficult to cool off, also more difficult to warm up. It's typically one of the last lakes to get ice on it and first lakes to get ice off of it. Never locks up very good with ice, especially out in the middle. There's plenty of other shallower water areas, but think of it like a giant bowl, basically. You have a lip on the entire surroundings of the lake, lots of water in that 10 to 20 feet coming off the bank. But there are areas where you can be right on the bank and sitting in 30 or 40 feet of water because it's just a straight cliff off into the basin.
Now, I'm totally incorrect here, but in prior events, I see a lot of the bass guys fishing like near the dock, on the rock, all this stuff. Do the bass hang out in the deep stuff, or are they more
kind of uncharted territory out there? Obviously, you're dealing with very low percentage stuff, right? You go down the bank and there's a dock, there's a lay down, there's a grass clump, that kind of stuff. Very high percentage, close together. You get out there in the abyss, and now forward-facing sonar has allowed us to find stuff out there and fish it effectively. But you're talking about a lot of water, needle in a haystack type situation where under our format with 4 hours, I don't know if we're going to see anyone playing the odds out there in the middle. But
the benefit of that is what? Bigger fish maybe living out there?
Yeah, and it obviously brings more carrying capacity to the lake.
Yeah.
Going back to 8th grade biology, right? If your pond is this big, there's only a certain amount of carrying capacity that it has. If your pond is this big, you have more carrying capacity, more space for life. So that goes all the way down to the plankton, the bait fish, the smaller game fish, the panfish, bluegill, crappie, that type of stuff, all the way up to your muskies and your lake trout and stuff that eats a lot of stuff. No trolling allowed in the bass series, Andy. No trolling. So, yeah. But, yeah, if you wanted to target that open, deeper water, forward-facing sonar is going to be your best friend. I would kick my trolling motor on 10 and pan back and forth until you see something out there. Like I said, very low odds. I've tried it before. You can go 2 or 3 miles with your trolling motor on 10 and not see a fish. Not one fish. It's just dead out there. There's nothing to hold them out there aside from bait fish. So if you can find that bait fish, if you find an area where maybe the wind blows the plankton in, which the bait fish follow, and you find that type of feeding frenzy situation, it can go down out there. Low odds. I like my odds better, especially in our format, if you have a line of dock that has a lot of habitat. You get some shallow cover. You got to lay down between this set of docks, and then there's a little inside weed edge over here, and there's some rocks off the end of this dock. Like, that's high percentage as opposed to going out in the middle and trying to forward face for, could be 100, could be 1.
Have you heard how's pre-fishing going for these guys?
Not heard anything.
Okay.
It's been mostly crickets on this one. Very much the opposite from what we saw last week when everyone was up on Sturgeon Bay and everyone was having a good time. So we'll see.
What are your expectations? I mean, we're coming off just a monster event. Big weights. What are your expectations for this body of water that we're kind of walking blindly into here?
Big green can be very good. This time of year can be tricky. We have fish coming off the beds. A lot of the largemouth have been done for a while. There might still be some smallmouth on the beds like what we saw in event 3. But I think this is very much going to be a post-spawn kind of junk fishing type deal where you just pick one up over here on a jig, and then you see one on forward facing and you throw a drop shot to it and you catch that one, and then you go down a little further and you pick one up on a wacky worm under a dock, and then you might slide out off the weed edge and catch one on a Ned rig or something. Like, I think there's going to be a lot of stuff, and you're not going to be able to lock into one deal and just put this one away like what we saw in the last one.
Okay. Yeah, I'm excited for it. Green Lake, somewhat familiar with Green Lake, usually beautiful water.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly beautiful town. Yeah,
clear.
It's awesome. Yeah, and I totally did not say this, but 6:45 tomorrow. Correct. You get yapping, right? You preview it all. You do your thing, and then 7 o'clock lines in. Correct.
Yep. Correct.
Okay. Awesome. Can't wait. Going to be a lot of fun, and we might as well start with the elephant in the room here.
Yeah.
We have number 1 versus number 2. We have 2 guys on top of the leaderboard for most valuable, and we have former teammates.
Yes.
This is
the one that has all the makings
we could have ever wanted, and it's happening in event 4. It's going to be wild. We have the number 1 seed, Mitch and Dave Van Aert. Number 1 by a lot.
Yep.
224 pounds, 3-0 hammered.
Yeah.
Much respected duo. And then we have kind of the bad boy of fishing, Tyson Hansen and Kyle Puela. They're the number 2 seed, 3-0, 169 pounds to their name. I mean, these two have been it this season. And now they're facing off. Mitch and Ty, former teammates from last season, very successful, went their own ways, and are both continuing that success.
Oh, yeah.
They know what's at stake here, man. Yeah. This is going to be a fun one. What do you see with their fishing styles? Man, heading into Green Lake, man. What do you see?
I think if you were the Van Aerts, this is probably the one. If it wasn't this one, it was the one before it on Little Sturgeon where you wanted to face Ty and Kyle.
Okay, why is that?
It really suits Mitch and Dave's style. Clear, deep water, finesse tactics, mix of smallmouth and largemouth, no current, no dirty water, no, I shouldn't say no slop, like shallow water vegetation like we've seen Ty Hansen love to fish before. There's some of it, but it's not typically like the main player, like what we see on the river events or that kind of stuff. If I'm the Van Aerts, like this is one of the ones that I was like, I think we have a pretty good chance in this one. That being said, Ty is no stranger to Big Green Lake. Anyone who fishes this area, any of the stuff around here, club stuff, big stuff, any jackpot tournaments, like Big Green has been a very popular destination for the last 10 years for bass tournaments. We've all been there.
Okay.
100 times. We all know the place really well. in some aspects, it suits Mitch and Dave better. In other aspects, it suits Ty and Kyle really well. There's plenty of shoreline cover. There's a lot of dock. There's a lot of wood. There's a lot of shallow rock, shallow grass, that kind of stuff. So if I am Ty Hansen and Kyle Poyle, I probably am wishing that I got the Van Aerts in the next one on High Falls, but this is the chips that they're dealt here, and Ty Hansen and Kyle Poyle have proved it all season long. They're up to whatever challenge, raise us one and we'll raise you one better kind of deal.
Yeah, and I'll tell you as an outsider looking in, when we hear Ty talking about his preparation, it sounds like the man is so prepared for every single match that he goes into. He has all these spots marked. He knows the strategy. He has a game plan. He follows said game plan. Not afraid to make adjustments mid-match.
Right.
I like that he kind of pulls the curtain back and lets us into all that stuff. And then clearly, Mitch and Dave, they don't have to tell us how prepared they are. They just go out and catch 100-pound days,
right,
time after time after time. I did their averages. Mitch and Dave are averaging 74 pounds a match. That's insane.
It's impressive.
Hugely impressive through 3 matches. And you'd think, Ty Hansen, yeah, man, they're doing great. 56 pounds. That's a huge deficit right there. It's totally, it's wild what Mitch and Dave are doing. All we can do is sit back and say, wow. You guys, you're the 1 seed for a reason. You guys are doing fantastic. We'll see what the body of water brings for these two. I just think that these two are just so clearly, they've leveled up.
Right.
They're fantastic, and I can't wait. And have you heard any like ribbing? Have you heard any of like the talk? Nothing.
Silence. Straight up silence.
That's almost worse than a little banter going back and forth. What's happening here?
I think both of these teams are locked in game mode. Like
I could see that. Yeah. The number 1 seed is hugely important this season, and one of these 2 teams is going to get a loss to their name.
Correct.
A loss could be it for the Bass side of things. We have 3 teams undefeated right now. Meng and Chi, they're not expecting to lose anytime soon. And these 2 heavy hitters, one of them's got to drop. So I don't know, man. This is big. The hard part is Mitch and Dave have so much weight to their name. They don't lose this one.
Yeah, right.
Who's going to catch them? When are they going to catch them? This is almost a do or die situation to take your shot at the Van Aert.
I did not realize this. We get Van Aert and Van Aert versus Hansen and Poyle in this one. And then fast forward a little over a month away, event 5, we get the Lees versus Van Aert and Van Aert.
No way.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah. So it's going to be,
Van Aerts are going to run the gauntlet here. Wow.
If they can come out the front side of this one.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
We could possibly be looking at an undefeated matchup between 1 and 2 again. Next event.
Yeah.
Man, Head2Head just keeps delivering gifts for us. I love it. This is going to be a fun matchup. And both very, very deserving teams here.
Yes.
Both very, very good at what they do. We'll see how the fish are reacting to them. Do we feel like they're going to change anything that they've been doing thus far?
No.
As far as, why?
Nope. I think both these teams realize that what they're doing, whatever they're doing, is working. And if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Like, it's got us to 3-0. We have a great season total weight, both of them on either side. Like, we're clicking on all cylinders here. Like, let's not mess this up.
Are you projecting 100-pound weight coming out of Green Lake? 100 pounds is a ton of
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Right? So, I don't know. I doubt it. I think we'll see, just like I said last week in the walleye event, I think we'll see a lot of guys that 40 to 60 to win matches. But that being said, my prediction of that was completely blown away last week when everybody caught him.
Yeah.
Fishing so far this year's been really good. Like,
it has been.
They are biting around here for some reason. Like, it's one of the best years that I can remember as far as just fish catch. Like, solid, good number days, some nice fish. Like, they're biting. So I could be shocked in this one, but this time of year is just not set up. If we were here 2 or 3 weeks earlier, if we were on top of that little sturgeon date for this big green event, I think we would be definitely talking about possibility of 100 pounds. It's tough to say. There was a 5-fish tournament there over the weekend. It took 24 to win, I believe. So that's our best 5, yeah.
Okay.
So there's big ones biting. Typically, you'll see a big fish in a 5-fish, 8-hour tournament of a 5 to 6 pounder out here, whether it's a 60-boat tournament or a 12-boat club tournament. So
we're looking at 3-pounders coming out of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. A 3-pounder's a solid one out here. There's plenty of smaller ones too. And then there's that element of a 6-pounder. A lot of guys who fish tournaments out here like to get to that 16 to 18, and then they know that they're one bite away. They got a 2-pounder in their bag, and they catch the 6-pounder, boosts them from 18 to 22.
All right. Anything else with this matchup?
No, I think that this, just like what we saw last week with the battle of the Clash of the Titans, Katowski's versus Miller-Solberg, this is the same matchup here. This has all sorts of playoff implications, and that one we were kind of looking further down the standings, surprisingly. This one, returning head-to-head royalty, didn't get it done in the championship last year. Both of them have a chip on their shoulder to try and get this deal done, and this is the match that they've had circled all year. So I think this one has all the makings. Probably going to be some trash talk, probably going to be some back and forth, probably going to be tight. I'm looking forward to it.
We're waiting for the trash talk. I figured anything socially might happen, like social media posts, but promote it, boys. Get out there, keep the gloves up, have some fun with this one, and it always adds a little flame here when partners go their separate ways.
Right.
Whatever the reason was, it clearly there was a little bit of friction, and you went your separate ways, and still both crushing it. And we talked about most valuable. It's got to be Mitch and Tyson leading the league right now, right?
Correct.
Okay.
And I believe Mitch has a slight edge.
Okay.
Because his incredible performance on 160 pounds, and probably 120 of them were from Mitch. So that does a lot towards your total weight. Even we talked about the event prior, event 2 on Bago,
when Ty was by himself,
put up 50 pounds, but that's 50 pounds on Bago compared to 120 on the Bay of Green Bay. Stats got really skewed in that one.
Yeah.
Little Sturgeon threw a wrench in a lot of people's hopes and dreams of getting that MVA, because there was one angler that stood out above the rest. We figured there would be, and it was Mitch Van Aert.
Yeah, and both these boats, well-oiled machines. They're both clicking on all cylinders. I'm starting to really pay attention to the net guys. As soon as they get a bite, the net guys, the good ones, are right there, getting them in the boat, getting them processed, and both these teams do an exceptional job with that. So I'm looking forward to it. Keep it rolling, fellas, and 1-2 should be a great matchup.
Should be a phenomenal match.
Let's head to the next one. Number 5 seed, Chris Frederick, Ron Twardowski. They are 2-1, 83 pounds to their name. They are taking on the Young Cat, Riley Richard and John Hanman. Number 7 seed, they're 1-2, 91 pounds in their boat. I love it because we kind of talked about Frederick Twardowski. They're kind of the Steady Eddie veterans in the league.
Right.
They just go out there, they do their thing. It worked, tried and true. And then you got these young cats in the boat, Riley Richard and Hanman. The youth movement is upon us, and I love it. I love the confidence in these kids, and their record doesn't do them justice. I feel like they are better anglers than 1 and 2 shows. They've averaged 30 pounds a match. Frederick Twardowski, they're 2-1, and they've only averaged 27 a match.
Right.
So a lot of that is who you're facing off with. What do you see here, man? I love the old school, new school going at it a little bit.
Hey, we got that storyline, and then this is as close to the repeat of the championship match from last year as we can get.
Yep.
Frederick and Twardowski are still together. Riley Richard carrying the torch with Brian Eisch last year. This was the championship match. Riley now has a new partner, and they're squaring off on Big Green Lake. I think if the two young bucks try and do style points, try and get fancy with it, Frederick and Twardowski are going to have their way, because I can already tell you no one has hit the water yet, I have not heard anything. I doubt Frederick and Trudowski are even going to practice, but I got a feeling that they're probably going to do it with a flipping stick and a beaver on shallow cover. Whether that's grass, docks, wood, I think that that's probably going to be their game plan because that's all they've done aside from Little Sturgeon. And even in Little Sturgeon, they kept it simple. We're going to go bed fishing. We have 2 rods here. These are the 2 rods that we're going to fish with all day. If I break this one off, I'm going to retie this one because this is my favorite rod and I don't ever put it down. Yes. And that's what they're going to do.
And it works.
And I got a feeling that they're going to put up 30 to 35 pounds, 2 or 3 fish a quarter, maybe pop off in one of the quarters, and that's going to be it. If the kids can match, I shouldn't say kid, if Richard and Hammond can match that pace, they'll be golden.
Yeah.
If they can catch 1 or 2 big ones, find a way to catch 1 or 2 big ones, gives them the leg up. If they let Frederick and Trudowski start to chip away at this deal, like in the 4th quarter, if it's closer than like 10 pounds, or if they let Frederick and Trudowski get a first quarter jump on them and they go scoreless in the first, when you face Frederick and Trudowski, you have to match their pace.
Yep.
At least match. Because you know they're going to be steady Eddie through all 4 quarters.
Yep.
And they're not going to change up their deal. This is their deal. This is what they do. They are the snake in the grass team. They, of course, wanted to be number 1 seed, but it just doesn't suit their style. They're Mr. Consistency. They're Mr. I'm in the check cashing line all the time.
Yep.
I do not miss a check. It doesn't necessarily set up for a win in a 5-fish tournament for them every single time. But you know who's in first or second big fish every single time? Chris Frederick or Ron Trudowski. You know who's in the check line with 15 to 16 pounds no matter where they go? Chris Frederick, Ron Trudowski.
Is that a strategy that kind of erases risk? Kind of what they're doing, right?
Yes, absolutely.
They take that risk factor, push it to the side. This is what we do, tried and true. Might not get us that 15-pounder,
right?
But it's going to get us, 7 3-pounders.
Yep.
So we see them do this time and time again, and they're very good at doing so.
Exactly.
I love it. I think it's fun to watch.
Yeah, it's in my personal tournament fishing. I've tried other styles. This is my style. The Frederick and Trudowski style is my style. We're going to put the trolling motor down in an area. We're not going to make too many decisions. If I don't make too many decisions, as long as my first one wasn't a bad one, the chances of me making a bad one somewhere along the line are low. Yeah. If I only make 2 or 3, as opposed to I'm going to start here, and then I'm going to run over here, and then if that's not working, I'm going to go here, and then here and here. Spend more time running around, and then in your head, you're like, the next stop is so much more critical. Whereas if you only make 1 stop, and you know in your heart and in your mind, you have 100% total confidence. If I put my trolling motor down here and I fish till here, I will catch my target weight no matter what. My boat could sink. It could start on fire. I could have to fish from shore. I could have to fish in a float with a pool noodle. I'm going to catch my weight no matter what. So it does. It takes the risk factor out. It doesn't allow you to jump for those big wins necessarily as much, because chances are you're not on the population to get that 1 bite to set you over the edge. But in our format, where it's all about putting up solid fish, catching good numbers, it's proven time and time again with Frederick and Trudowski that this strategy right here works.
Yeah, they'll find an area and they'll clean that area out.
Yep.
They do a very good job. They do a very good job of that. And then we see the young kids. They haven't been afraid to move locations. No. So, again, battle of strategies here. Right. New school, old school. I'm fascinated by this. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. This one has all the makings. Once again, just like the other one, I think this is kind of a slept-on match. I was sleeping on it a little bit, to be honest with you, when I first saw it. But then I started putting the puzzle pieces together, and I was like, oh, wait, yeah, this is what we got going on here. So this is another good one.
Currently, they're the 7 seed, last team in the playoff. So 91 pounds is not a shabby weight.
No,
not
at all.
They're sitting okay with the weight. A win would go a long way for them as far as the standings go. Anything else with this one?
I think that Richard and Hammond have to be looking for a little redemption. I know that they didn't want to take a loss on their home pond on Little Sturgeon. This is your prime time, boys. This is your teed off. to slay the dragon, knock off a couple of head-to-head veterans, and really prove that you guys are legit in this game, in this matchup. Don't let the pressure get to you. Keep your head down. See what happens.
Yeah, give her. Yeah, I like it. Next one. We have the 9 seed taking on the 10 seed. Important matchup for both these teams. Logan Keane, Matt Ward, 0-3, 46 pounds to their name, averaging 15 pounds a match. And then we have Matt and Hank Steffen. Welcome back, Hank. We love Hank on the camera. They're the 10 seed, 0-3, 38 pounds, 9 ounces. They're averaging, I mean, I had to include match 2 where they forfeited.
Right.
But they're averaging 12.9 pounds a match. Matt, tried and true professional.
Correct.
He's fantastic. Hank, we love seeing Hank on the boat. Hank's out there fishing. He's not just sitting there. No. He's not just cheering Dad on. Hank's out there fishing. He's doing his thing. So it's really, really fun to watch him on the boat. Love the father-son dynamic. Matt is an excellent teacher on the boat. If y'all want to learn some stuff, watch Matt Steffen in this head-to-head format. And then you have Keane and Ward. Let's just say desperation has hit that boat. It's time. They need a win in the worst way.
We thought that they were in a tough spot at this point last year.
Oh,
this is much tougher of a spot.
Yeah.
At least at this point last year, I think they had a win under their belt. They were on familiar waters. I don't know how familiar they are with Big Green. They looked lifeless in the last one. There's only one way to put it.
Yep.
And if you want to dig out of the bottom of the barrel, you have to find a spark. Something. Get anything to cling to. Catch a big one in the first quarter. Something. Please. Just anything that you can get that team dynamic back on the tracks. Because last year, it seemed like a really good dynamic. They were having a lot of fun on the boat together. The bass stash was going. They were gone Bago smallmouth every time. Ride or die with the Bago smallmouth. It worked in some situations, it didn't in others, but that was their strategy. That was their theme. This year, I don't feel like this team has a theme. I haven't felt like there was anything to give them the spark to go off of here.
Is it just a matter of losing's hard?
Yes.
Like losing is extremely
very hard.
Difficult. And sometimes once you lose and then you lose, you snowball. The snowball gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and you can't get out of your own way. That might be happening on this boat.
That, and I think that they had a lot of high hopes after last season. They 100%. Felt like last year was their learning experience. Didn't go their way all the time, but they felt like they had grew as anglers to where this season, with the more diverse schedule, could be their breakout year.
I agree with that. Yep.
Now we're through the Bago event where I really thought that they'd have a big event. Through the Little Lake Butamore event where I really thought that they would be right in the mix against the Van Aert. And then we're through the Little Sturgeon event, which against a team that only had one sub in the boat, like put the ball on the tee and just square off on it and you'll be okay. Right. That being said, the sub for the Neubauers crushed it. Like for someone who's never fished head-to-head before, he looked like a head-to-head veteran.
Dominated,
Looked great.
Yep.
So it wasn't as easy as maybe it looked on paper, but that was one where they needed a win so bad. And this one, now you're facing off against the true professional.
Yeah.
On a place where Matt spent a bunch of time on Big Green. This really suits their style. I think Hank will feel right at home at this one. Matt will feel right at home at this one. They spend a lot of time on the place where our championship is headed. Matt does not want to sit on the sidelines when we go to the Wapakekana Lake. That is one of his favorite places to fish. I don't mean to speak for him, but he spends a ton of time out there. He understands these deep, clear Wisconsin bodies of water. He's very good at fishing grass. He's very good at fishing shallow boat docks. Like, this is really setting up to be one of their stronger events, conditions-wise, just the way it sets up. Ward and Keane are going to have to find a way to match that.
With only 7 events in the regular season, we're heading into event 4. Must win. This is a must win for one of these teams. I think if you lose this event, the season's done.
Probably done.
Even if you run the table at 3 wins, still finishing 3 and 4, and the amount of weight that we've seen so far from these two teams, they need to chalk a W up in a major, major way. So we'll see.
Yeah, this one should be fun. I'm hoping to see more life out of the Warden Keene boat, and I'm hoping to see that positive mentality, the father-son, like the dynamic finally click for these two, because I don't feel like they've had an event yet to really feel the head-to-head format. And they're really good at it. Matt spent a ton of time at MLF with the catch-all-you-can, every fish over X weight counts. Like, this is their jam. So to see them at 0-3, they had the one that they had to forfeit. I get it. They need a big one in this one. If they want to climb back into this playoff picture, they need some weight here on Big Green, and they need a W for both of these teams.
I cannot wait to see that smile on Hank's face when they win their first matchup. You know what I mean? Like, these two have a really fun time, win or lose. But, you know, it's just a different feeling when you win that first one, especially as, a 9-10-year-old kid. Like, how cool is that going to be?
Right.
They've been excellent at catching. What were they pulling? Carp. They pull a big old carp or two out of the water. So they have a really good time on the boat together. Very fun to watch. It's going to be awesome footage for those two to go back and watch.
Yeah.
But all that being said, Matt Steffen's a very good fisherman.
Very, very
He
good.
is capable of winning at any juncture. So going to be fun. And must win territory right here for these two teams.
Yeah.
So urgency in this one. It will be a big one. Our fourth matchup, Ben and Brian Tesh, the number 6 seed. At one point, we're the number 1 seed. Have fallen the past two events.
On a downhill slide.
Yeah, they're 1-2, 128 pounds to their name. They're taking on the number 4 seed, Dale and Grant Neubauer. 2-1, 87 pounds. They need to send a big old fruit basket to their sub.
Oh, yeah.
He might have saved their season in one big event. What he did last event was fantastic.
Yes.
He's now hooked on the head-to-head format, it sounds like. We welcome him with open arms. He was a fantastic angler. Welcome back. Did we hear how Grant did?
I'm looking right now.
Okay, awesome.
I know that it was not a win, unfortunately, but it was a solid showing, especially in his first one.
Good.
A lot of guys fish. This is one of those events where a lot of guys work their entire lives to like get to multiple of these. Like they get to their first one and they're like, we can't wait to get to the next one. Like we're going to grind our butt off to get to the next one and the next one and the next one. And then finally, sometimes you see a new guy come out and win this event, but a lot of times you see like someone who you always see at the top of the standings across a lot of tournaments finally get his time at the All-American. So,
speaking of winners, Ben Tesh, did you see that? Ben Tesh coming off a heater. What was the event called?
That was the Bass Nation High School State Championship.
Jeez, and Ben
back-to-back W's.
He won that one.
Won it last year on the Winnebago chain, won it this year on Lake Wisconsin, so congratulations to the Teshes.
Yeah. Congratulations. Been saying it all season long. Ben Tesh is an absolute monster. Let that kid eat. He has a big fishing future ahead of him. He puts on a show. I'm very much looking forward to watching this one. Dale and Grant coming back, having something to prove.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, Ben and Brian are very capable fishermen who excel in that boat. They just need to start getting wins.
Yes.
That's it. They're averaging 42 pounds a match. Awesome. Dale and Grant, 29 pounds. So, tail of the tape here, Teshes should be favored
statistically
in this one.
correct. Yeah. Yep. Grant finished 28th in the BFL All-American.
Out of how many?
The very prestigious event like we've talked about. So there was 50 boaters in the event.
Nice job, Grant.
So exactly halfway, but that is like 50 of the best like grassroots everyday guys like work a 9 to 5 and go fishing on the weekend. So to finish about halfway in that field of guys is impressive.
Congratulations,
very good.
Grant. That's awesome, man. Yeah. waiting for Grant to put on that show.
Yeah.
And
that
head-to-head
signature event.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. We have seen it. He's got the accolades to his name.
Right.
Just waiting for it. I would love to see a Ben Grant kind of just both hammers going at it in this one.
Right.
That'd be a lot of fun to see. What do you see between these two duos here?
Lack of experience on this body of water for the Neubauers.
Yep.
That's probably their biggest hitch in the road.
Okay.
That being said, in some instances, I feel like it could suit their strengths. In others, I feel like it might not. Grant's very up with the times. So is Ben. They both know how to use the tech that is available within fishing.
Yeah.
I think we might see some shallow water power fishing. I think we also might see some spinning rod action out offshore, targeting those fresh post-spawn fish. There's fish out there doing it. If there's two teams that try and unlock that middle, so-called, like we talked about in the beginning of the show, these two are probably the two that I'm like, yeah, I could see one of those two going off on a side quest and coming across a great big group of them out there in the middle. So we'll see. I don't know how much pre-fishing time. I know the Teshes have been busy, clearly.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
So I don't know if they're down there today, they're down there yesterday, whatever. I'm sure the Teshes are putting in their time for this one, as are the Neubauers.
Yeah.
This one's really a toss-up for me. Like, this is a tough one for me to pick because I feel like they're very evenly matched. Obviously, we see it in the seeding. They're very evenly matched. We have a lot of those matchups this week where the records are close. The seeding is close. So this one should be fun, just like the other two that we've talked about. This one's very tight.
And the dynamic on the boat is the same.
Yeah.
The kids excel.
Right.
And the dads kind of take a step back and let their kids do what they're great at.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of fun to see. I always had that question coming in, like, can you really tell your dad what to do on the boat? They're allowed to.
Yeah.
Like, this is their arena, and this is where they're great. So, love all of that. Father-son dynamic on boats, great. A lot of fun. And we have two very, very good youngsters.
Yes.
In Ben and Grant going at it. So, yeah, man, this is going to be a lot of fun.
This one should be a lot of fun.
Yeah. The weight is kind of saving the Teshes right now.
Right.
In the 6th seed. But you keep chalking the losses up. Eventually, it's just going to
catch up.
Yeah.
With
It's going to be too much. So, yeah, a win would go a long way for both these teams, obviously. But Teshes, I feel like, need it just a little bit more here. And that'll mess the standings up like crazy if they pull the W off. So, yeah, man, anything else with this one?
This one should be fun.
All right. And here we go. Our 5th and final matchup. We have 3-0, Meng and Chi Lee. They're the number 3 seed, averaging 55 pounds a match, 164, 8 to their name on the season, coming off a massive event.
Yeah.
Went over the century mark. Awesome. Good for them. And then they're taking on 0-3, Jeff Gagnow, Tony Malika. My goodness. Maybe the most unlucky team we've ever seen. Because they have put up monster events.
Yeah.
And they finished second. Like, if it was a big fish tournament or whatever you guys do, the 5-bagger.
Yeah.
My goodness. They cash and checks every single event. But unfortunately, in the head-to-head format, they face the top weight. They face the second to top weight. Like, they're just facing everyone's best. They're the 8 seed at 0-3, 145 pounds to their name.
Yeah.
They can catch fish. They're averaging 48 pounds a match. The Lees, after that big one in event 3, averaging 55 pounds.
Right.
This is going to be fun. Jeff and Tony know that they need to win.
Yeah.
If they don't win, they could be 0-4 with dang near 200 pounds to their boat and not even in the playoffs.
Yeah.
It's ludicrous to think about. And the Lees need to keep pace.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just face it. They want to win. They want to be the 1 seed. They need to catch a lot of weight, and they need to keep winning.
Yes.
Especially seeing what they have around the corner next match. So, yeah, man. Are there brighter days ahead for Jeff and Tony here?
There has to be. There absolutely has to be. This cycle cannot continue the way that it has. Like,
can it?
Right. I don't know. It's like Jeff talked about how statistically impossible it is what is happening to them, but that's head-to-head. Like that's how it goes sometimes, and it's crazy. I think if you're Jeff and Tony, you just kind of got to sit back and be like, how much can we really adjust, right? Like, we are winning every other matchup aside from ours. Like, what? They have to find a way to get that clutch gene in the fourth quarter because they're very good at keeping it tight. Aside from what we saw in the last one, where by halftime, like, right, Mitch and Dave put up 160 pounds.
Yeah.
What do you got caught on the wrong side of that?
Yep.
We thought that it was possible coming in. Like, this is a very formidable opponent for these two.
Yeah.
We'll see. And same situation in this. The Lees are very, very good on Big Green. It suits their style. They have that smallmouth, largemouth mix. The Lees can go play up shallow if they need to. The Lees can do it offshore. Tony and Jeff just need to find where they're comfortable and find a way to keep pace with the Lees.
Yep.
I don't really know what more there is to say aside from that. It's brutal what we've seen for Jeff and Tony. And it's crazy because we just talked about a battle of 0-3 teams, and we were like, both these teams look kind of lifeless. Like, there hasn't been much there for these two teams. And then we're talking about Jeff and Tony. Like, they should be right in this conversation. Like, that very easily could be one of our 3-0 teams.
It very easily could be.
At least a 2-1 team. The last one wasn't as close.
Yeah, you're not going to do anything in that one.
Right. But you went up against the guy who, like, beat the record by 40%.
Yeah.
Did way more than we've ever seen in head-to-head, period. Any time, any match. So
I think what happens is Jeff and Tony, they bring out the best in all their opponents. And if you guys haven't read Jeff's stuff, it's fantastic write-up. I think they're really great.
Yeah.
Essentially just tip your cap to every single team that you're facing because they're doing their part. They're catching 40-plus pounds a match.
Yeah.
They're doing what they need to do on that boat. And they're just facing everyone's best event.
Right.
It's kind of become a running joke in Jeff's writing where they're kind of opening the gate for, oh, well, you're a struggling team. Here you go.
Right.
Come face us. You're going to have your greatest day ever.
Yeah.
Sometimes it just goes like
right.
Also, on a different note, Jeff, we are thinking about you, man. Keep your fight up.
Yep.
You got this. Anything you need from us, you just let us know. Yeah, Jeff, fighting the cancer battle, man.
Yep.
I hate to hear that.
Yeah.
Especially one of the kindest guys I've ever met.
Right.
So,
yeah,
Jeff and Tony, two great souls on that boat. Yeah, they deserve to win a couple matches here. So, and then you got Meng and Chi. Meng and Chi, they want to be the 1 seed.
Yeah.
They want to win this season. They're putting it all on the line. From day one, they said that they're not holding anything back, and they haven't yet. So we knew the fishermen that they were. We know the fishermen that they are. They are elite, to say the least.
Correct.
And they're going out and doing it this year. They're not camping. They're just going out and fishing. And I love to see that because they're amazing.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say about them.
No, they're a very, very, very strong team. They've proven it so far this season that they are not holding back. They are leaving no stone unturned, and they are going for the throat this year in head-to-head. They felt like they left a lot on the table last season.
They did.
And they did. I mean, we knew it all season long. We're like, this is not the Lees. This is very weird to see where they were. This right here, seeing them at number 2, they are the scariest number 2 or number 3 team.
Yep.
The scariest number 3 team that there is, period.
Yeah.
So
after last event, I said there is a clear 3.
Yeah.
Like there are 3 that are just elite in this league. One of those is going to fall this week.
Right.
And then the following week, one of those is going to fall.
Yeah.
So we're going to see some shake up
clear
here.
separation here.
Yeah, I love it. This is how leagues are supposed to go.
Right.
To be the best, you got to beat the best.
Right.
Sort of thing. And it's going to happen. So Jeff and Tony need to win. Meng and Chi need to win.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's must-win situation all over the place.
Yeah, kind of different ends of the spectrum there, but must win, absolutely.
Yeah, it's going to be going to be a lot of fun. Anything more with these guys?
Don't think so.
All right. This one is going to be a show.
Yeah.
This is going to be a lot of fun. If the 1-2 wasn't happening this week, this would be the matchup of the day.
Absolutely.
But, they take a back seat to 1 and 2 facing off. So
we got some great matchups.
We have very good matchups this week. And all have implications, man. They're all going to mess with the standings, win or lose for certain teams. So, it's going to be fun.
We knew with this shortened schedule that every event was going to have some sort of flip-flopping. Like last season, it was very difficult to talk about playoffs this early going into event 4 because we weren't even over the halfway point yet. Things were still very much undecided. Everyone was just kind of getting their feet wet. Similar situation this year, aside from the fact that you don't have the time to make it up. If you're 0-3, you are on the hot seat at this point in the season, and it's now or never.
Yep.
You got to do something.
Yeah, one little slip up, one little decision. Everything is so amplified in this shortened season, and obviously the 4-hour format is everything we wanted. Head-to-head. So this is great. All right, you ready? Is it pick time?
I think so.
All right, coming off of last event,
Ouch.
2 correct.
Ouch.
Right. Andy went 4 for 5, and I also went 4 for 5. Man, I've been thriving on the bass side of things. Walleye, not so much. But let's stay hot, boys. All right, let's start at the bottom here. Meng and Chi taking on Jeff and Tony. Can Jeff and Tony kind of crack that nut here? What do you got?
I think it's the Lees, unfortunately.
Okay.
I hate to bet against Tony and Jeff, and I hope that my picking against them, because my picking with them thus far this season has not done them any favors. So hopefully turning this one on the other side, I think this is going to be a great matchup. I give the edge to the Lees.
All right. Andy. Please. I'm going with the Lees. They were my preseason pick, and I am riding with the Lees. Do your thing, Meng and Chi. Can't wait. All right, we got Ben and Brian Tesh taking on Dale and Grant Neubauer. Andy's going with the Neubauers. Ty?
I think it's the Teshes.
I also have the Teshes. Could be a good one.
Yeah, very good one.
Ben's riding a heater, so always tough.
Yeah.
Tough to come down from that. All right, we have 9-10. Logan Keene, Matt Ward, taking on Matt and Hank Steffen. Is this Hammer and Hank's introduction to the W column? Andy, what do you got? Keene and Ward. Ty?
I think Matt and Hank find their way to the winner's circle in this one.
Hey, this is... Dude, I am following your lead, which could be brutal to my record.
Right.
But I'm going Matt and Hank. I want to see Hank hoist that big W when they get the win. Number 5, Chris Frederick, Ron Twardowski, taking on number 7, Riley Richard, John Hanman. I'm going to get my pick out of the way. Richard Hanman. Going with the young guns.
Yeah.
This one I flip-flopped a lot. But I think Richard Hanman are going to find some big ones, and they're going to bring them in. Andy, who you got? Twardowski. Who you got, Ty?
I am also going with the Wiley head-to-head vets.
Yeah.
Frederick and Twardowski.
Never a bad bet.
Tough to bet against those
Taking
guys.
those two for sure. And then in bright, bold, shiny light,
yep,
we have our 1 seed, Mitch and Dave Vanner, taking on our number 2 seed, Tyson Hansen, Kyle Puela. Andy, I'll let you start. Who are you going with? Hansen, Puela. Okay. I also picked Hansen and Puela. I know who you're taking.
You know where I'm going. You know where I'm going. I think Mitch and Dave defend their turf and keep that number 1 beside their name.
I'm shocked that Andy went with the 2 seed here. I thought I was being sneaky going out on a limb here. It's almost impossible to pick against the Van Erts.
Yeah.
But that being said,
if there's a team that can rise to the challenge,
there is. Yeah. This will be it. I just love the different styles between these two. And Ty, turn up the smack talk a little bit here. Let's get this baby rolling. I can't wait. Event 4 is going to be a lot of fun on Green Lake. These Bass Boys are about to put on a show. I cannot wait. This all takes place tomorrow, 6:45. You get the pregame show rolling.
Yep.
Break down the weather, the water, all that fun stuff. And then 7 o'clock a.m. lines in for 4 hours of nonstop action. Can't wait. Gentlemen, it's been fun. Andy, nice job back there. Ty, always a pleasure.
Yep.
Looking forward to Bass event number 4. We'll see you all there, 6:45. Come enjoy. Till we see you then, be great.